Hello, folks. I don't know what it is exactly about lettra paper, if it's the sizing or the finish or whatever it is, but it doesn't work well with fountain pens. I end up having areas that skip, and let's see if an area happens like that right now. Of course, now that I'm being filmed, it's not doing it. Like, oh, I saw the UFO over there. Oh, we'll set up the camera. Oh, it's not there. I'll see right there. I know that's not a lot, but what I generally end up having to do is to write much slower, which is fine. Nothing wrong with writing slow. But when I write slow, even sometimes here it skips, when I write slow, the thinnest lines are thicker. When I write fast, the thin lines, the thin strokes are much more delicate and I think more beautiful. So lettra slows me down in order for all of the lines to fill in so they don't skip. Here's, my standard paper allows me to write without skipping, and it's actually, this allows for more delicacy. The lettra, again, on the other hand, I have to write slowly, and of course this isn't showing what happens, but trust me, when I'm writing with lettra, if I wrote fast, see, like right there, it misses, and I don't know why. I haven't figured it out. The texture of the paper too is a little bit like felt, so it just isn't as smooth as this paper is. And there's even smooth paper that's bumpy, if that makes any sense. There's even textured paper that is still very smooth for the pen, smooth to the touch. The texture is sort of stamped into it, if that makes any sense. It's not part of the pulp of the paper. It's just an embossment, sort of like watercolor paper. But see, this really allows for nice delicacy, whereas if I were to try to do that here, every once in a while, see, again, you're getting it right there, those little gaps, and they often happen, where you're not supposed to have, like that completely wasn't there. So it's unpredictable, but it does happen, and it's real. There, it's right there again. Those little tiny bits that miss. It's like driving in a car that's misfiring. It doesn't work. Sort of backfires and skips, and it's a problematic paper. The only way for me to avoid, or try to avoid, most of it is to write very, very slowly. And again, the thin lines, when I write slowly, end up being thicker. Now, I can use different pens, and sometimes that helps a little bit, but other times when you use a really sharp pen on this, it can bleed a bit, because you sort of tear at the fibers, and the fibers soak in the ink. And again, I don't have that problem on smooth paper. But this works better on this paper. So it's a lot of experimentation to find what will work best on a given lettra paper. On 99% of the other papers I get, I don't have to experiment. I know that they'll work, but lettra is just tricky temperamental. That's the word. It's a temperamental paper. And so it just means I have to write a little bit differently. And the result as well turns out a little bit differently. That's what lettra is like.